If your spoiler sense isn't already tingling, here is your last warning before in-game and Far From Home spoilers swing into action.
Hey, could you hold this for a second? Thanks.
In the Far From Home trailer, we finally see the new world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in which a reassembled Nick Fury is reassembling the Avengers, beginning with Spider-Man.
If you don't talk to him, then I have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go.
You do not ghost Nick Fury.
After the great undusting by Professor Hulk in Endgame, the transition from Phase 3 to Phase 4 of the MCU finally makes sense. I mean, how are they gonna make Black Panther or Doctor Strange sequels when their title characters ended up like that Kansas song?
All we are is dust in the wind, dude.
I don't feel so good.
And we didn't feel good either, for a whole year. But now we can see that Far From Home picks up post-Endgame, where Peter Parker's classmates like Ned and MJ were also missing for 5 years, and time had essentially stopped for them.
You look pretty too.
He does, doesn't he? Except Flash Thompson, whose wispy mustache may hint that he didn't get dusted, and that he definitely deserves this for all the times he roasted Peter.
I'm here in St. Marco Polo's. Oh!
The other big change for this webhead comes from the comic books and cartoon Into the Spider-Verse, and that's parallel universes.
We could have used someone like you on my world.
Your world?
Beck is from Earth, just not ours. The snap to our hole in our dimension.
Marvel Comics refer to Earth 616 as the primary continuity for the heroes you know and love, to differentiate them from the offshoot multiverse Earths and comic book plots where things get weird.
This could literally not get any weirder.
It can get weirder.
The MCU sneaks sly references to Earth 616 in Avengers Endgame, Ant-Man's van was locked in Storage Unit 616, and in Thor: The Dark World.
Imagine that this is our world, and oh, thank you. And this is another world.
There's leaked Far From Home footage of Mysterio referring to Spidey's world as Earth 616, while he claims to be from Earth 833, which in the comic books is the setting for Spider UK, hence the Union Jack on his suit.
Saving the world requires sacrifice. Sometimes people die.
Now, Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck seems like another great heroic mentor for Spidey in the wake of Endgame's result. Gyllenhaal does know a thing or two about web-slinging since he nearly replaced Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2. Far From Home is the actor's first superhero film, but I wouldn't trust that he's Team Good Guys just yet. Since his 1964 debut as a Hollywood stuntman gone bad, Mysterio has almost always been a villain whose masterful illusions aid and abet his crime squad, the Sinister Six. In Far From Home, he claims to need Spidey's help to take on elementals from Earth 833, but this could be a ruse since we know Mysterio's old Sinister Six pals, Vulture and Scorpion, are still out there with big angry grudges against your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Or a little spider friend? I've got some boys on the outside who would love to meet him.
No matter who's fooling who, Far From Home will likely tackle classic Spidey storylines where Peter Parker tries to balance real life with that hero life, fighting to stay a normal teenager despite his awesome arachnid powers.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
Yeah, good point, Fury. There have been countless incarnations of Spider-Man in the comic books, and the awesomely animated Into the Spider-Verse introduces us to just a handful.
I just washed my hands. That's why they're wet. No other reason.
Okay. Let's look at the newest Spider-Man to join the Spider-Verse. A Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sequel is on the horizon, and producer Phil Lord has already revealed the fan-favorite version of Spider-Man has been designed for the new film.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there.
And we certainly didn't see this coming because this version of Peter Parker, named Takuya Yamashiro, isn't from the comics but from a live-action Japanese TV show from the late 70s called Spider-Man. This incarnation of the webhead wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider, but instead got his powers from a UFO known as the Marveler, which Spidey can turn into a giant robot with the help of his oversized bracelet thingy. He also drives a really boss car and has a theme song about shaking his bum. Oh, and in case you were wondering, his archenemy is named Professor Monster.
Spider-Man!
While the inclusion of this wild and weird Spider-Man into the upcoming Spider-Verse film is awesome news, we are hoping to get even more Spider characters, with a few specifics in mind.
You're like me.
Back in 2003, the uber-talented author Neil Gaiman created a limited comic series titled Marvel 1602, where superheroes were born hundreds of years in the past and included historical versions of Doctor Strange, the X-Men, and, you guessed it, Spider-Man.
Call me Spider-Man! Okay, Spider-Man!
But in 1602, he is known as the Spider, who worked for Sir Nicholas Fury and had all the powers and abilities of the Spidey we know and love, with an even cooler costume. If he pops up in the new film, he would be the perfect teammate for the futuristic Spider-Man 2099, who was introduced in a post-credit scene of Into the Spider-Verse.
Let's start at the beginning, one last time.
Another webhead could come from the mind of comic author Dan Slott, who has written nearly 200 issues of Spider-Man comics, creating countless Spider spin-off characters, including 2014's Silk. Also known as Cindy Moon, she was bitten by the same radioactive spider as Peter Parker, only moments after him. Moon has all the same abilities the friendly neighborhood superhero does, and then some, like the power to organically spin webs from her fingertips. The character could be a great expansion to the universe of Jake Johnson's Spider-Man from the first film, as she comes from the same world.
We're a little team. Me as the teacher who could still do it. You as the student who can do it, just not as good.
That's high praise coming from you, Spidey. And speaking of praise, Cosmic Spider-Man deserves all of it, because he is the most powerful Spider-Man of all time. This power comes from the Enigma Force, a sentient energy that seeks out and bonds with a host, giving them the power to do pretty much anything.
It's clear to me that you were not ready for this.
This take on the webhead first appeared in 1989's The Spectacular Spider-Man number 158, and was expanded on in Dan Slott's 2015 miniseries, aptly titled Spider-Verse. And he could fit perfectly into the new film, as the Spidey gang will need all the power they can get to save the multiverse once again.
This could literally not get any weirder.
It can get weirder.